The Black Sabbath lead singer Ozzy Osbourne has died at the age of 70.
For decades, Ozzy Osbourne has been known as the Prince of Darkness, the wild frontman of Black Sabbath, and one of the most unpredictable figures in rock and roll history. His shocking stage antics, from biting the head off a bat to creating some of heavy metal's most iconic anthems, built him a reputation as a man who lived without fear. Yet behind the wild image and chaotic persona, there has always been another story, one of fragile health, personal struggles, and the constant battle against illnesses that slowly changed his life. Now, at the age of 72, his wife Sharon Osbourne has finally broken her silence to reveal the painful truth about her husband's condition. Her words are not only heartbreaking but also show the strength of a woman who has stood by her husband through fame, betrayal, and sickness. In her statements, Sharon painted a picture of a man who is not just a rock star, but a vulnerable human being facing the tragic decline that comes with age and disease. Fans around the world, who once saw Ozzy as untouchable, are now confronted with the reality that even the wildest rock legends cannot escape the struggles of life and mortality. Sharon Osbourne has always been more than just Ozzy's wife. She has been his manager, protector, and the person who shaped his career into what it became after Black Sabbath. For years, she carefully controlled what the public knew about Ozzy's private life, deciding which details would remain hidden and which could be shared. But as his health worsened, Sharon realized she could no longer stay silent. She revealed that Ozzy has been suffering from advanced Parkinson's disease, a condition that slowly takes away a person's ability to move, speak, and live independently. In emotional interviews, Sharon described how difficult it was to watch the man she fell in love with, the funny, vulnerable, and unpredictable Ozzy, slowly lose control of his body. She explained that they had prepared for this stage of his life for months, arranging home care, medical staff, and private family meetings to make sure his wishes would be respected. For Sharon, it was not just about caring for a patient, it was about honoring the love of her life, ensuring his dignity, and protecting him from the cold spotlight of media intrusion during his most vulnerable moments. The Osbourne children, Jack, Kelly, and Amy, have also played a central role in supporting their father through his decline. Jack once revealed that his father could no longer speak in his final conversations but still communicated through eye contact and facial expressions, proving that even without words, the bond of family remained strong. Kelly spoke about the emotional difficulty of seeing her father, the man who once ruled the stage, become so fragile. The family created a system where everyone had specific responsibilities. Kelly took over managing social media, Jack focused on protecting his father's privacy during legal and medical processes, while Amy stayed more private but stepped in when needed. This family unity gave Sharon the strength she needed, but it also highlighted how much effort it takes to keep a legendary figure like Ozzy Osbourne shielded from unwanted attention. The Osbournes, once known for their chaotic and public reality TV show, now turned inward, shutting the world out so they could protect what truly mattered, their father, husband, and family leader. Sharon admitted that every decision was carefully planned, nothing left to chance, because she knew Ozzy wanted to spend his remaining days surrounded by love, not by flashing cameras. One of the most emotional parts of Sharon's revelation was her discussion about forgiveness and the crisis in their marriage. Years ago, news broke about Ozzy's extramarital affair, leading to a painful separation. For Sharon, it was a deep wound, a betrayal that almost ended their decades-long relationship. She demanded that Ozzy step away from performing and enter treatment to regain control over his life. Many thought their marriage would not survive, but Sharon later revealed how the family, especially their children, pushed for reconciliation. They reorganized their lives, creating strict rules for Ozzy, legal agreements about finances, public appearances, and even personal behavior. This was not just about control, but about rebuilding trust in a relationship that had been deeply damaged. Sharon explained that their marriage after this crisis was not based on emotions alone, but on a structure of discipline, honesty, and careful planning. She admitted it was not easy, but she believed in the man she loved, and she knew that despite his flaws, Ozzy was worth saving. In her words, "We rebuilt our marriage not with romance, but with commitment." These confessions showed the public a side of Sharon that was strong but also deeply human, willing to fight for love even when most would have walked away. Ozzy's career, of course, has always been larger than life, and Sharon's role as his manager turned their relationship into something more than just a marriage. She wasn't just his wife, she was the architect of his solo career. After Black Sabbath, it was Sharon who redefined Ozzy's image, negotiated his contracts, and made sure his music stayed relevant for new generations. She crafted the Prince of Darkness persona, often using his unpredictable behavior to fuel publicity. But while fans saw the chaos, Sharon was the one maintaining control behind the scenes. Every concert, every contract, every business decision went through her. This close management also extended into his personal life, with Sharon managing finances, medical care, and even public appearances. Many have criticized Sharon for being too controlling, but now, with her recent confessions, it is clear why she did it. She wasn't just protecting his career, she was protecting Ozzy himself. His battles with addiction, illness, and self-destructive tendencies meant that without her, things could have ended much sooner. In truth, Ozzy's survival as a performer and as a person owes much to Sharon's tough but loyal presence. As his illness progressed, Sharon described how their lives became more about survival than performance. Ozzy had to cancel tours, appearances, and music projects because his health no longer allowed him to continue at full strength. Sharon explained that every decision was guided by three principles: safety, dignity, and family unity. Public appearances were only allowed if Ozzy could handle them physically, and even then, strict rules were in place: medical staff always nearby, short time limits, and private exits to avoid stress. Nutritional plans, therapy schedules, and even home arrangements were designed with precision. Sharon admitted that at times it felt like running a hospital rather than a home, but she insisted it was the only way to give Ozzy peace in his final years. The Osbourne household, once filled with rockstar chaos and cameras, became a carefully managed sanctuary. For Sharon, this was her mission, to make sure the man who gave the world unforgettable music could spend his last chapter with comfort, not chaos. It was a heartbreaking yet deeply loving duty, one that showed the true meaning of in sickness and in health. Fans, meanwhile, have had a hard time accepting Ozzy's decline. To them, he will always be the wild man of rock, the untouchable icon who seemed immortal. When Sharon revealed the truth about his condition, many expressed shock and sadness, struggling to reconcile the energetic performer they once saw on stage with the fragile man now hidden from public view. But Sharon insisted that this honesty was necessary. She wanted fans to remember Ozzy not only for his wild antics but also for his humanity, his vulnerability, his humor, his love for family. In fact, one of the most moving parts of Sharon's revelation was her mention of the music Ozzy left behind. She shared that unreleased recordings were played during private family moments, including one final remix of his song "See You on the Other Side," which Ozzy himself had requested. This gesture, Sharon explained, was Ozzy's way of saying goodbye not only to his family but also to the millions of fans who stood by him for decades. It was a reminder that even legends must face the end, but they leave behind music that lives forever. Looking back on Ozzy's journey, Sharon's words paint the picture of a man who lived without limits, but who in the end, like all of us, faced limits he could not escape. From the highs of global fame to the lows of addiction, scandal, and illness, his life has been a roller coaster that only a strong partner could have survived beside. Sharon has often been criticized for being controlling, but in truth, she has been the one constant presence in a life filled with chaos. Her recent decision to finally speak out was not just about sharing pain, but about honoring a love story that has lasted decades. She revealed the private struggles not for sympathy, but to show the world that behind the rock star was a man who loved deeply, suffered quietly, and leaned on his family when the stage lights went dark. At 72, Sharon Osbourne's voice carries the weight of both sorrow and strength, reminding us that the greatest legacy of Ozzy Osbourne is not only his music but also the love and resilience that carried him through life's darkest chapters. Ozzy Osbourne, famously known as the Prince of Darkness, is one of the most iconic and controversial figures in the world of rock music. Born in Birmingham, England, Ozzy grew up in a working-class family and faced many struggles before he ever found fame. Life in his early years was full of challenges. He left school at a young age, worked small jobs, and even spent some time in prison for petty crimes. But music was always inside him, and when he joined the band Black Sabbath in the late 1960s, his destiny changed forever. Black Sabbath became one of the first heavy metal bands in history, and Ozzy's unique voice, along with the band's dark and heavy sound, defined a new genre of music. Fans were shocked but also deeply attracted to the powerful energy the band created. Songs like Paranoid, Iron Man, and War Pigs became classics, and Ozzy Osbourne rose to fame as one of the most famous rock singers in the world. However, fame came with a heavy price. Behind the stage lights and roaring crowds, Ozzy was fighting his own battles with drugs, alcohol, and personal demons that almost destroyed him. As Ozzy Osbourne's career grew, so did his problems. His wild lifestyle became legendary, filled with shocking stories that followed him everywhere he went. One of the most famous incidents was when he bit the head off a bat on stage, something that people still talk about today. While fans saw him as a fearless rocker, behind the scenes Ozzy was in deep trouble. His addictions caused problems in his personal life and even within the band. He was eventually fired from Black Sabbath in the late 1970s because of his behavior. Many thought his career was over, but Ozzy surprised everyone. With the support of his wife Sharon, who became his manager, Ozzy started a solo career that turned out to be even bigger than his time with Black Sabbath. Albums like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman brought hits such as Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, songs that are still played around the world today. But even with success, Ozzy continued to struggle with his health, his addictions, and the emotional cost of living life constantly in the public eye. His story shows both the incredible power of music and the dangerous side of fame. The move to Switzerland was made after completing the legal procedures related to unlimited treatment in a specialized facility. Sharon Osbourne requested that her treatment plan be separated from the national health system to ensure full autonomy in her end-of-life decisions. The documents related to this were established in the form of an advanced power of attorney allowing the authorized person to make medical decisions independent of the collective consensus system. This was one of the final steps in implementing a proactive worst-case scenario mechanism. As the neurodegenerative process reached the point of incapacitation, physical therapy support shifted to maintenance with no rehabilitative exercises being used. Late-age interventions were used to limit pain, stabilize peripheral nerves, and control muscle spasticity. Ozzy Osbourne remained conscious throughout the entire process and his vital signs were maintained at a level sufficient to enable him to sign administrative documents related to his estate and will. The system continues to operate until death is confirmed. All medical records, prescriptions, treatment plans, progress indicators, and final professional conclusions are stored encrypted and handed over to the legal representative according to the post-audit processia. Sharon Osbourne ends her role as medical administrator after signing a document to close the file confirming that all. In later years, Ozzy Osbourne became more than just a rock star, he became a cultural icon. His reality TV show, The Osbournes, showed fans a different side of him, not just the wild rocker, but also a husband and father. The show made him a household name, reaching audiences who had never even listened to heavy metal before. However, as he got older, Ozzy faced serious health issues. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which he revealed to the public in 2020, and he has faced multiple surgeries and physical problems in recent years. Still, his spirit remains strong. Fans admire his honesty about his struggles, his openness about his mistakes, and his love for his family. Even though his health has forced him to step away from touring, his influence on music cannot be denied. Without Ozzy Osbourne, heavy metal might not exist in the way we know it today. His powerful voice, his dark and unique style, and his fearless attitude inspired generations of musicians. Despite all the hardships, Ozzy proved that even someone broken and troubled can rise to legendary status and leave a mark that will never fade.